Hi, this is Nancy. Do you have good memories that you treasure from working your whole career? I bet you do. I think all of us do. I have precious memories from my career as a hospice nurse. They helped shape me a lot into the person that I am. And today, I would like to do some musing about my career in hospice nursing. Two very important things I learned from my patients as they were nearing death. The first is many of them would actually tell me these words: there's no such thing as the golden years. Do what it is you want to do right now. If you want to travel, travel. If you want to, whatever it is, build a big house, do it now. Because you might not have the day that you're waiting for. Many people just wait until they retire and then they end up dying. I know many people that that's happened to. Some people, one of my friends was, I think she just turned 70. She worked full time, never got the chance to retire, and she had a wonderful pension. She never got the opportunity to enjoy it because she died at 70, working full time. And I know that many people have wonderful golden years. They age wonderfully. But I'm looking at this from the perspective of dying patients, many of whom were too young to be dying. So my husband and I took that seriously. And when I was in my 50s, my husband was already retired, and I decided to become a travel nurse because we had never seen the middle of our country. We've been to either coast, but I really wanted to see the middle of the country. So we bought an RV, and I would take 3-month assignments in different areas. And after each assignment, I would take about 3 weeks off and we would just explore. So we got to see the whole country. And boy, it was wonderful. So I wouldn't trade those memories, you know? And that's exactly what those patients were telling me. Do it while you're young and healthy and you have the energy and you're young enough to enjoy it. The second thing that I learned from them is to focus on people, not material things. Because at the end, that's what matters. Love, people. Nobody thinks about their job or all the material possessions they own. It's all about people. So that's a good point. Also, one other thought I've had about working with dying people is that most of them don't have any room in their life for BS. Like, they get right to the point. You get to know them deeply and quickly. And very often, they're very forthcoming with you about how they're feeling because they don't want to talk to their family. They don't want to scare them. They don't want to worry them. So they communicate a lot with you. I did home hospice, so I went into their homes, and it was very one-on-one. And so I wanted to tell you about one of my favorite stories, one of my favorite patients, and I'm not going to use real names, but I was given a patient, I'll call her Ellen, and Ellen lived with her elderly sister. They had lived together their whole life. Neither one of them married or had families. And they were very stoic New Englanders. So I went to visit Ellen the first time. I would say the first couple of times, and I thought, she hates me. She does not care for me. She wouldn't talk to me. And then I went one week, and she had picked me a bouquet of pussy willows. She grew them in her yard. And I had commented the week before that she had some in a vase, and how much I loved pussy willows. So that meant so much to me, because I felt like, well, maybe she does like me. And I took care of her for a while. Her sister, I'll call her sister Priscilla. They didn't talk a lot. They were reserved, guarded. But Priscilla ended up getting very sick. She got cancer, and she ended up dying before Ellen. And that was very hard on Ellen. Anyway, to make a long story short, when Ellen was nearing death, I got a phone call, and luckily I was on call. So I went to her home. Her priest was there, and then shortly after he left, and she didn't have any other family. She had only had her sister Ellen. So I sat with her at her bedside. She had been in a coma for several days, not talking, not responsive. And I noticed she was getting a little upset, like she was moving her hands. She had had her eyes closed the whole time, but she was moving her hands, like looking up. And I said, Ellen, what's wrong? You seem upset. I wasn't expecting her to answer me. And she clearly looked at me and said, Priscilla won't open the gate. And they used to bicker all the time. And I mean, they were sisters that bickered constantly. So I could picture Priscilla up there not opening the gate for her. So as I was kind of processing this, she closed her eyes again for a few minutes, and then she sat bolt upright and reached her arms out like she was reaching for someone with a smile on her face. And I said, Ellen, what are you reaching for? What do you see? And she said, Jesus. And she died. And that was just so incredible to me. It's one of my favorite times in hospice. You see a lot when you work with the dying. It really helps you. When I went into hospice nursing, I was very fearful about dying. And my experiences with loved ones that I had were not very good ones. And so I thought, I'll become a hospice nurse and I can maybe help people through that. And I never realized that it would help me more than it helped them. It was such an incredible honor, each person that I got to walk through that journey with. And now I'm not afraid at all of death. I feel like I've seen the preview to the movie and I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I don't want to see it too soon. Another interesting thing is when you're working with dying people, it's very common for them to communicate with their dead loved ones, just like they communicate with somebody that's alive in their room. You can be in the room and they'll tell you that, oh, Uncle so-and-so is sitting over in that chair. Do you see him? And I'd say no. Oh, he died several years ago. One time I was in there, and they're not confused. They're alert and with it when this is happening. And one time I was in there, and there must have been a whole crowd of people in the room. I didn't see anybody. I wish I could see them, But they would talk to them like it was a normal, everyday visit. And I believe that the veil between life and death gets very thin or disappears when you get close to death. So to me, it gives people, myself, so much hope in the afterlife. And then in closing, I had another favorite patient. The end of my career, I didn't do hospice nursing. I worked on a congestive heart failure unit. But we kept our patients because they would come in and out of our unit many times, usually when they were ill. So we'd get to know them. And when they were nearing death, we would keep them on our unit instead of sending them off to hospice. And one particular woman, she was one of my favorite patients. Everybody loved her. And her room was right next to the nurse's station. So one shift, I was getting ready to go home, and she was not actively dying. She was very ill, but I didn't expect her to die. And I went in and I said, I just wanted to say good night. I'm getting ready to go home. And she said, good night. I'll see you in heaven. And I said, oh, okay. And she died shortly after I left. And that's always remained with me. So I would love to hear some of the memories that you have of your careers. And until I see you again, I'll be enjoying my retirement, and I hope that you will be enjoying your retirement. Please hit subscribe. I'm trying to grow my channel, and that really helps. And plus, I would love to get to know you. If you've never been on my channel before, thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.